You know what I love? When all the experts get together and tell us that we should listen to the experts. But yet, not one expert at one of the most prestigious outlets correctly predicted the economic numbers of May. Not one! Not one of the 73 forecasters working at, writing for, or advising Bloomberg correctly predicted May's economic numbers. I mean, they said it in their own article, too. I mean, at least some props for correcting the record and having a little bit of integrity, I guess. You still got it wrong. Look, I've been saying that Trump probably knows what he's doing for quite some time now. And all these people say, oh, the economy's going to crash. Trump's terrible. And what happened today?
Since President Trump took office, inflation has come in below economics expectations every single month.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it, libs. But that didn't stop Jamie Dimon from coming out and saying, oh, the economy is on a collision course. Collision course with what? Greatness, Jamie? These people are having too many cocktails with Jim Cramer, and every month we're forced to endure sound bites like this, where some expert comes back on and says, wow, the economy is doing much better than we thought.
Well, John, look, we got another month of positive inflation news. Despite these historic tariffs, the latest numbers do show that inflation remained relatively tame in May. So the big number is the annual rate that came in at 2.4%. That is a slight acceleration from 2.3% in April, but this was better than expected. Month over month, prices were up by just 0.1%. Again, that's better than expected, and that's actually a deceleration from what we saw in April.
He sounds like bummed that he has to report good news. I know, orange man bad, right? I mean, well, maybe, I got an idea. Maybe your prediction models are all wrong. I'm just wondering here. After 4 years of Trump 45, and now we've had 4 months of Trump 47, where every single month almost, all these experts come on TV and are somehow baffled that what Trump is doing is actually working. At some point, shouldn't these agencies or companies or networks just start firing people? Or at least changing their thought process? Seriously, if you have a there are weathermen that are right more than these economists. This is the same thing with the trade deals. Trump announced this morning, actually, that they had reached a tentative trade deal with China after their London conference. But remember, we were told that that was never going to happen.
There is no apparent hope for a deal with China. I have no confidence there'll be a deal with China. There's no indication of successful negotiations, maybe even any talks at all.
Maybe put your personal angst for Trump aside for just like 1 second. Can we all just agree that Trump's probably going to do what he says he's going to do? Like, if this trade deal goes through, and it looks like it will, this is a win all around. The U.S. would have a 55% tariff on China, while China would only have a 10% tariff on our stuff. This is what happens when you have a president who believes in the concept of the United States of America and is willing to throw its weight around the world stage. This is what it means to have a president that believes Pennsylvania is more important than Paris, that Chicago is more important than China, and Indiana is more important than India. But yet we have people within our own system, I'm looking at you, Jerome Powell, that refuse, just utterly refuse to get on board. You have people, mostly Democrats right now, that are going way out of their way to bet against the United States. There is not a sound reason on the planet that the Fed, which, by the way, should just completely be abolished, but there's not a sound reason that they shouldn't lower interest rates right now. Yet they said today that they're not going to lower interest rates until maybe September. Folks, I know what these discussions are behind closed doors. I talk to these people, and it goes something like this. Well, if the economy does better, we'll lower its interest rates. So Trump says, okay, hold my beer, non-alcoholic beer, and gets the economy to do better. And then Jerome Powell, since he doesn't like Trump, says, maybe not until September. There's like always some stupid reason why they don't do it. The real reason that they don't want Trump to succeed, which means they don't want you and I to succeed. But here's what's happening. First-time homebuyers have fallen to a record low recently. Why? Well, one, because the housing market is super expensive right now. First, because Joe Biden imported 10 million plus people and gave them money for rent, upending the housing market, causing a shortage, less supply, more demand, higher prices. Trump's deporting as many people as he can, but the courts are kneecapping him and not letting him do it. But there's a lag time to bring home values back down, and they've started to, but they're still high. And second, if Jerome Powell was really interested in helping Americans, which he says, he's lying through his teeth, He would lower interest rates so people could afford to buy those homes. And I've been through this before. If you have a $500,000 mortgage at today's rates, which is the median house in revenue or the median house expense right now, if you have a mortgage at $500,000, call it 7%, your mortgage is $3,400 a month. But if you had gotten the same mortgage in Donald Trump's first presidency when interest rates were 2 to 3%, your loan was $2,000 a month on the same home for the same amount of money. That's why Donald Trump said today, quote, CPI just out, great numbers, Fed should lower 1 full point, would pay much less interest on debt coming due. So important. 1 full point saves the average American hundreds of dollars a month. So I don't know what Jerome Powell is doing other than sabotaging Donald Trump. Look, I don't care about any of those people in the military, these analysts or these economists, but they're doing real damage to people. Markets are based on perception. If you have all 73 analysts getting an economic prediction wrong, and we're talking wrong in a way that has scared investors, you're holding back the economy. You're hurting people's retirement, and in Jerome Powell's case, hurting the housing market, which is 1/6 of the economy. Think about that. But he's also hurting about how much it might cost us to refinance our national debt. He could cost us $1 trillion. Right now, new housing prices are the only thing driving up the inflation rate. So when you have people like Jamie Dimon say that the U.S. economy is on the verge of deterioration, you're not doing Main Street any favors, pal. I think at this point, we just need to agree that most of the experts are morons, and Donald Trump will usually end up being right.
He loves the Constitution. He fights for what's right. He hates the bad guys. He's a freedom warrior. He's your freedom warrior. Watch Carl Higbie every weekday on Newsmax.